The excitement of primary sources, all about primary sources 3. What is the format of the documents? We're talking here, as we had ended lecture 2, about electronic documents. An electronic version of a primary source can be either a scanned image of the original document, which is called a facsimile, or an ASCII text or word processed version, created by rekeying the content of the document or by using optical character recognition, OCR, to convert the image of the document into text. Ideally, a primary source on the web should be made available in both forms when originals are difficult to read and to provide keyword searching of the text. Facsimiles reproduced the layout, illustrations, and other nonverbal information contained in the original document, and they allow the researcher to check the accuracy of another edition or versions of the document. And this is very important to be able to go back to other documents, other versions of that document, and to look and see how this interpretation compares to the other interpretations. ASCII text versions can be searched, quoted from easily by copying the word processing software, and they provide a backup for ineligible portions of facsimiles. And here are some websites that you can go on to find those different primary source documents. This is just an example of a photograph which can be a primary source document. And in this, we're going to look at what is a primary source? Well, it's a photograph. Who's in it? Well, it looks like a mother and 4 children. And it's in black and white. And who took it? Who took the photograph? I don't know. But you can see there's writing that's backwards on the top. And I can't read it very well. It's something David, maybe children. Anyway, when was it taken? Well, let's look. We can kind of guess maybe in the 20s, probably the 30s. You've got, everybody standing in front of a fireplace, a stove, to perhaps stay warm. Clothing looks clean, but not elegant, like they would be rich. So probably just an average family. You can look at the poster on the back and other elements of the picture to determine, what this picture is trying to say. Where was it taken? Where was it created? It looks like either a house or an apartment complex. And why? Why do you think this was created? Does it tell a story? Or is this trying to tell something about the Depression era? Is this something that's trying to tell about the humanity of loss? What is it that this is trying to tell? And what other research do you need to do to adequately define this photograph? And the 5 key questions that you need to ask with primary source documents. First, what? What is the primary source? Is it a photo? If so, is it in black and white or color? Is it a letter? If so, is it typed or handwritten? 2. Who? Who wrote the letter, took the photo, or painted the painting? Can you be sure it was really that person who made it? 3. When? When was the primary source created? How can you tell its age? 4. Where? Can you tell where the primary source was created? And 5. Why? Why was the primary source created? Does it tell a story? Is it a love letter? Is it an order from an officer to a soldier? Is it a picture of the Rocky Mountains? Does the primary source tell you why it was created? Can you guess why it was created? And this is where your background knowledge is so important. So you can look at what you know, and then you can analyze that primary source. And if you don't have the background knowledge to analyze the primary source, what do? Of course, you go look up that information and you get some background knowledge so that you can adequately analyze that. Well, we've talked about primary sources a lot, but there are secondary sources. And secondary sources are secondhand published accounts are called secondary sources. They are called secondary sources because they are created after primary sources, and they often use or talk about primary sources. Secondary sources can give additional opinions, sometimes called bias, on the past event or on a primary source. Secondary sources often have many copies found in libraries, schools, or even homes. All of the following can be secondary sources if they tell of an event that happened a while ago. History textbooks, biographies, published stories, movies of historical events, art, and even music recordings. So remember the 5 key questions to ask when analyzing a primary source. What, who, when, where, and why. The 5 W's of analyzing primary source documents.